Have you ever felt like you're putting in all the effort in your relationship while your partner seems distant or unengaged? You're not alone. Studies show that nearly 50% of people in relationships report feeling unappreciated or overlooked. Shocking, right? It turns out that many people find themselves in one-sided relationships without even realizing it. But what does it really mean to be in a one-sided relationship? It's when one person is doing most of the emotional labor, while the other is coasting along. This imbalance can lead to feelings of frustration, sadness, and even burnout. In fact, research shows that those in unbalanced relationships are twice as likely to experience anxiety and depression. So, how do you know if you're caught in this situation? In this video, we'll dive deep into the signs of a one-sided relationship. You'll learn how to spot hidden red flags, understand the difference between interest and investment, and discover practical strategies to reclaim your happiness. Stick around, because we'll also talk about how to find the courage to step back and prioritize yourself. By the end, you'll have the tools you need to make informed choices about your love life. Let's get started on this journey to better relationships and true happiness. Chapter 1: Hidden Signs You're Giving More Than You're Getting. Ever wondered if you're the one doing all the heavy lifting in your relationship? Sometimes, it's easy to miss the subtle signs that you're giving far more than you're getting. If this sounds familiar, it's time to take a step back and examine a few things. Relationships are built on balance, and if you're the only one keeping things afloat, it could be a sign of trouble. Start by looking at how often you're the one initiating contact. Studies show that in healthy relationships, partners tend to split the initiating 50-50. Are you always the one texting first or planning dates? If so, that's a red flag. It's common to feel like someone has to make the effort, but if it's always you, there's an imbalance. Another sign? How they respond to your efforts. Relationship expert Dr. John Gottman suggests that people in balanced relationships respond positively to each other's bids for connection about 86% of the time. This means when you reach out, they should be responsive and engaging. If they're distant, distracted, or barely paying attention, that's not a good sign. You're putting in energy, but they're not returning it. Let's talk about quality time. If you find yourself constantly compromising your schedule to fit theirs, take notice. Healthy relationships involve both people adjusting and meeting halfway. If it's always you bending and sacrificing, they may not value your time as much as you value theirs. Sometimes, the signs show up in how they react when you need them. Do they show up when you're struggling, or do they disappear? Research shows that in strong relationships, partners are there for each other 80% of the time when one of them is down. So, if you feel unsupported during tough times, it's likely one-sided. Love isn't just about the good times, it's about showing up when it counts. Chapter 2: When you're the caregiver, not the partner. If you feel more like a caregiver than a partner, this might be a one-sided relationship. Taking care of someone is natural in love, but it should go both ways. Ask yourself, are you always there to support them, but they're rarely there for you? If so, you're giving way more than you're getting. Psychologists call this the caretaker trap. It happens when one person takes on the responsibility of fixing everything, whether it's emotions, problems, or even daily tasks. You might think, I just want to help them, but over time, this role can become exhausting. In fact, studies show that one-sided caregiving relationships lead to burnout in 60% of cases. Look at how your partner responds when you're the one needing support. If you're always offering a shoulder to lean on, but they rarely check in with you, that's not love, it's dependency. This can lead to a toxic cycle where you're overextended, and they're under-involved. As one psychologist put it, a relationship where only one person gives is an employer-employee relationship, not a partnership. Sometimes, this caregiver role can also appear financially. Are you paying for everything? Are you constantly bailing them out? According to a survey from Northwestern Mutual, 20% of people in financially imbalanced relationships feel more stressed and less satisfied than those in balanced ones. Money alone isn't the issue, but if you're footing all the bills without support, it could point to one-sided dependence. Consider setting boundaries. You don't have to drop everything to help them every time. Instead, try saying no sometimes or asking for support in return. By setting limits, you'll see if they're willing to step up or if they only stick around when it's convenient. Chapter 3: Emotional breadcrumbs. Are they just keeping you close enough? Emotional breadcrumbs are one of the sneakiest tactics in one-sided relationships. These breadcrumbs are little moments of attention or affection, just enough to keep you interested. If you've been feeling unsatisfied but can't quite put your finger on why, this could be the reason. Think about the last time your partner surprised you with genuine care or attention. Was it recent, or has it been a while? In relationships where one person is just breadcrumbing, they'll give just enough to make you think things are going well, but they rarely make any real commitment. Relationship coach Matthew Hussey says, if someone is only doing the bare minimum to keep you interested, they're not in it for the long haul. Breadcrumbing often appears in inconsistent communication. They might go days or weeks without reaching out, then suddenly come back with sweet words or attention. If you feel like you're on an emotional roller coaster, that's often a sign of breadcrumbing. This tactic makes you feel like things might improve, but it's just a way to keep you hooked without any real investment. This pattern can also appear in big promises with no follow-through. For instance, they may say, "We should take a trip together," but it never actually happens. According to a survey by eHarmony, people who make unfulfilled promises in relationships are often rated as less trustworthy. If they talk big but never take action, that's breadcrumbing at its finest. To break free from breadcrumbing, focus on consistency. Look for actions that align with their words. Do they actually show up? Are they willing to make sacrifices, not just promises? By setting expectations and sticking to them, you'll quickly see if they're willing to step up or if they'll fade away when you ask for more. If you're finding this information valuable, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more insights into relationships and love. Chapter 4: Investment versus interest. How much are they really putting in? In any healthy relationship, there's a balance between interest and investment. While interest might look like a quick text or a thinking of you message, investment is much deeper. Investment means commitment, effort, and putting in time, even when things aren't easy. Are they only showing interest, or are they actually invested in you? Research shows that people who are truly invested make consistent time for each other, even when busy. According to a study from the Journal of Marriage and Family, couples who regularly make time for each other report 30% higher relationship satisfaction. So, if your partner is constantly too busy, that's a major sign they're not invested. Think about their actions, not just their words. Relationship author Gary Chapman, who wrote The 5 Love Languages, says, "True love is an investment that grows over time. If they're only interested in convenient or fun moments, but disappear when life gets hard, they might not be willing to invest in a real partnership." Another way to gauge investment is by looking at how they prioritize you. Are you often bumped down the list for work, friends, or hobbies? Prioritizing a partner is a sign of commitment. In fact, a study by Purdue University found that couples who consider each other a priority are twice as likely to stay together long term. So if you're constantly at the bottom of their list, that says a lot about their level of commitment. Investment also means taking real steps forward together. This could be anything from discussing future plans to taking concrete actions to build a life together. When a partner is invested, they're willing to talk about these big questions without hesitation. If they dodge serious conversations or future planning, they're likely just interested, not invested. Chapter 5: The Exhaustion Test. Why true love shouldn't feel draining. Feeling exhausted by your relationship. That's a red flag. Love should recharge you, not drain you. In a one-sided relationship, it's common to feel physically and emotionally tired. If you're the one constantly giving, you're likely feeling worn out. Healthy relationships don't leave you feeling depleted. Studies show that relationships where one person does all the emotional work often lead to burnout. In fact, the University of California found that people in draining relationships are 3 times more likely to report stress-related health issues like anxiety and insomnia. This happens because you're carrying all the weight, and that's not sustainable. Ask yourself if you feel relieved or drained after spending time with your partner. Relationship expert Dr. Sue Johnson, author of Hold Me Tight, says that real love should feel like a safe haven. It should bring comfort, not exhaustion. If your partner leaves you feeling drained, it's time to reconsider. In balanced relationships, partners take turns supporting each other. So, take a close look at who's doing the heavy lifting. Are you always the one listening, supporting, or solving problems? This can quickly lead to resentment and burnout. One way to test this is to simply pull back a bit and see if they step up. If they don't, it's a sign that they're comfortable with you doing all the work. Another approach is to set boundaries around your energy. Start by limiting how much time or emotional support you give if it's not being reciprocated. This may feel tough, but it's a good way to gauge their reaction. If they respect your boundaries, there's a chance for balance. If they push back or guilt trip you, they're likely not willing to put in the effort.